Listen, I'm so sorry. The bro- Listen, the broadcast got cut off because of a technical issue behind the scenes. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna allow you all to come back in before we listen, before we jump back into it. I'm so sorry. I was not expecting that to happen, but it happened and we are live. These are part of the issues that happen when we're live. But this, don't worry. This video is going to be edited. Both of these pieces are going to be put together. If you were writing some comments, I didn't see your comments at the end because it got cut off. So yeah, we are back. I'm so sorry about that. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Because hey Krista, welcome back, girlfriend. Listen. I'm sorry. This is something that needs to be freaking spoken about. And I ain't gonna let no technical difficulty stop me from speaking about this. Cause listen, we're gonna dive all into it today. I don't even know if my ears, the thing's in the right ear. Here we go. There we go. Listen, all right. So you all can hear. All right. So listen, we're back. Because there's two parts to this. Did you all see? You saw the video of the young lady calling women. Okay, so you know what we're gonna have to do? Because we're putting it together, I'm going to have to start this video as if that one had just ended and we're going to be editing it back together. So because we're live, you're seeing this, but this part is going to be edited out. So let me get ready. Let me get ready and just come back with the 1-2 punch. Okay. Okay, here we go. Bumblebee is like, what's a live drive? I don't know what a live drive is. I guess if you drive in live, that's about it. All right, so let's jump back into it. All right, so I was saying this is so difficult. That's what I was saying. I remember saying that. All right. All right. Okay. So, oh God. All right. Okay. Let's go forward. All right. All right. Okay. I know I'm just saying, okay. All right. Let me just get my mic turned up towards my mouth so that we can make sure that we have good, perfect sound. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's go forward. Okay. Oh, my mic is in the shot now. Let me down here. All right. There we go. Mic is out the shot. Live broadcast. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go forward. All right. All right. So you see, this is part of the reason that I decided to make this video, because we have so many male identified women who take an idea that a man said, and then all of a sudden she just goes and runs off with it. And even Derek Jackson, I think Derek Jackson touched, but his videos are so short, he doesn't really give time to dive in because there are so many arbitals in this. And for those of you who watch the Tiny TKO show, the arbitals are reading between the lines. And so there's so many things to read between the lines on this for, but there's more to their podcast. And you know what? I want you to pay special attention to her face. Look at Kadeen's face when he's talking and think about the greater picture for what it is that he's implying by making a public broadcast talking about how he's not getting enough pum pum at home. Okay, so I want you to look at her face. We're going to play another clip from her because I think it's so important for us to be able to really see the full context and greater context. And I'm going to give you some background information about other things that I know from being at a seminar with them that I'm going to add as greater context for actually the journey that they went on for when they got married. Do the numbers, right? She said they're 36. She said, had I known this at 18, and then they were having the conversation in 2003, they've been married, I believe they said, for 10 years. So you could get your pen and paper, do the math. Like how they show the different the mathematical equations spinning all around through your head. And I'm like, how long did he expect to swim in and out of her uterus before she said, you know what, let's settle down? And then we're going to talk about some information that I have that I don't know if they've talked about publicly. So let's jump right in. Let's continue. Here we go. All right. You all ready? Bobby's doing the math, but I want no, she didn't say 26. She said, had I known that at 18, do the numbers. If I'm going to ask you to do some numbers, do some numbers, son. Come on now, you know better than this. Come on, go all the way back. Rewind if you need to, but let's jump into this.
I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
That's
And
fair.
and me not knowing that, if I knew it then, I probably would have rethought,
And
what I was going to do when it came to marriage and monogamy.
and that is fair. And this is why I like to have this discussion. And I think we should have this discussion because people look at us and say, oh, relationship goals, right? Marriage goals. They don't know what is being discussed behind closed doors,
Hmm.
right? So, for example, one of the things that I have deduced through being married to you for a long period of time is this, and this is not about a woman thing. This is about me and you. I learned that you were never taught what it entails to be with someone in a monogamous relationship. The same way I
No.
was never taught that.
Right.
So what happens is that we both have expectations of what we think it's going to be like.
Of course.
And then the minute it's not like that,
Hmm.
we start to project our issues that we have with that on each other. So you get mad
Naturally,
at
who
me
else we going to
and I
project
get
it
mad at
on?
you. So the problem is not so much the reality of what happens, is that we all have this ideal of what it's supposed to be like. And I'm going to give you an example. As a man, right? In my 18 from 18 to 22, we had sex routinely, like all the time.
Yes.
That was it,
Hmm.
right? Once we moved,
Listen, okay, you know what? I saw both of these before. Maybe they didn't say 18 in the first one, but you heard 18 in this one, right? She said she was 36 in the last one. Keep your calculators out, okay? Keep your calculators out.
moved into together and we were living together in our own house in Michigan, sex started to slow down. This was before kids.
Hmm.
This was before marriage. This was before you was working.
Hmm.
This was before any stresses, period.
Right.
This was just like sex just started to slow down.
Right.
And
But
in
also
part,
too, 18 to 22 was like college. It was my first time out of my parents' house.
right,
We were living in this utopia that was college
right.
life. And also too, what was the other thing that I was going to say? So distance. We had
Yes, we had
distance.
distance.
So there was time for us
So
to like miss each other and be like, "Oh, I can't
absolutely.
wait to see you again." And when we do
That's
see
what I
each
was getting
other,
to.
yeah, okay, sorry.
So once we started to move in together and
Right.
you see the same person every single night,
Hmm.
the distance that we had when we were in college and I was traveling and we were doing different things, that distance allows time for you to kind of reboot your sex
Yes.
drive. For
Yes.
me, I don't necessarily have to reboot my sex drive. The minute I see you, I want to have sex. So when we were missing each other, it seemed normal that we had sex all the time. But then when we think about it, we really wasn't having sex all the time because we didn't see each other all the time.
Right.
Then when we moved in together and we see each other every day, every time I want to have sex, I look to you. It became overwhelming.
Hmm.
So, and the reason why I say that is because the conversation starts happening was, why do men fear marriage?
Hmm.
Why do men fear marriage? And I'm going to
Hmm.
explain this so that everybody can understand this.
Hmm.
When you're a man, a young man, and you talk to your friends who are married about getting married, the first thing they do is say, take your time, right? They don't ever explain why, because men aren't vocal. We don't discuss these things. We're not emotional.
Hmm.
All they'll say is, "Whew, take your time. You got time for that. You sure you want to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, you sure?" And they're like, shit gonna change. And then you like, what does that mean? Oh, don't worry about it. Shit gonna change. So no one really tells you as a man neither what exactly is going to change and how it's going to change and why it's changing. But I've learned over years.
I'm sorry, I just had to pause it real quick. I had to pause it. Okay. Woosah, woosah. I just want you all to just take special notice to when he went to the elders, what the elders said to him. Let's keep going forward.
Why it's changed and how it's changed. So as a man, you start to realize, like, you know what, we are not just wired differently mentally, physically, we are wired differently. She can't take everything that you want to give her all the time. But since no one tells you that, you just expect that this woman who wants me to be loyal to her, monogamous to her, is going to want to have sex every time I want to have sex.
Hmm.
And it's not until you move in with a woman and you live with her all the time do you realize that she can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So not only are women not being taught what it's like to be in a monogamous relationship, young men are not being taught what it's like to be in a monogamous relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand completely because I experience.
I need to pause this again. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for keeping pausing it. I mean, it's a long clip anyway, so we could break up the monotony. I'm sorry. I just have to say this right now. You know, there's a reason why women evolved to having their menstruation inside. There's a reason why women's bodies are designed the way that they are designed inside. Not menstruation, I'm sorry, ovulation, so that the signs of ovulation for us as the mammalian walking upright homo sapiens that we are, because rumor has it that ovulation, you know, like the monkeys that have the pink butts when they're ovulating, that they say that early woman was very similar to that, so that when she was in heat, that it was something that was broadcast to the world. I mean, even now our voice sounds sweeter when we're ovulating. Even now our pheromones are different when we're ovulating. So like you'll notice that like men, you'll notice that, oh, a woman's voice is like sometimes when you know, I don't want to use, let's keep going. I don't want to use myself as an example, but there's a reason why it became more discreet when a woman was physically able to produce, or physically at the prime point during the month to produce offspring. There's a reason why a lot of these things are internal. And when you look to the elders to give you advice, and the elders are like, she ain't gonna be able to take all you want to get. No, there are things that men can do to be able to, there are things that you can do to keep your woman interested. But those things start long before the bedroom. Let's continue to go forward because I took notes. We're going to go through a whole video on this. Don't worry. I got you. Don't worry.
It's the same thing, and that's why I'm grateful for platforms like this, or just our
Mhm.
generation of people who are speaking up and speaking
Right.
out and speaking to each other about these things, because then maybe people will
Mhm.
make more educated decisions about whether or not they do want to be married, or they do want to be in a monogamous relationship, or what actually is involved in that. And the crazy thing about marriage is that one of the things you always hear is like, you got to compromise, you got to compromise.
It's
But like,
true.
what happens when one party feels like they're compromising more than the other, or one person feels like they're sacrificing more than the other? Then that becomes an issue, because a lot of times we try to meet each other halfway, but you still feel like you're ended up with the short end of the stick. And it just may be too because you literally have a bigger sex drive than me. And for me, it just takes way more to get me to a point sometimes where I'm
Right.
even willing to do that. Like, back to your story, it was like, damn, I know I promised him.
Mhm.
I promised him some ass tonight.
Promise me.
And I was like, damn, I can't not do this, but I want to go to sleep. Like, I really just want
I
to
get
wash
it.
my face and go to sleep, but I don't want to disappoint him. So there I felt like, you know what?
Mhm.
Let me try to do something to genuinely get myself in the mood, or with some assistance.
So this is
And
this is what
then
she did.
Listen, I'm sorry to stop again. I just want you all to pay special note that it does sound like for her, sex is a chore. Why though? That's going to be the question that we're going to ask when we come back out of this. Why? Why is it a chore?
This is what she did. The ponytail. This is what
I want you all to remember this woman is at her sexual peak. Remember, I told you do the math. She's 36. Let's keep going forward.
she felt like. Now here's another thing too, and let's be fair. I'm willing to compromise, right? Am I
yes,
not?
you are willing to
We don't have
compromise.
sex every day. We don't have sex in college. We
We
used to have
don't.
sex 2 times a day. We see each other. We was like rabbits,
Son.
right? I compromise, and I even said to you, I'm not gonna push for when I want to have sex. I'm gonna allow you to get back in the mood, and then when you come to me to have sex, because I want the sex to be enjoyable,
Facts, but it'd be a
right?
problem when me having to reset my sex clock be longer than you expect it to be,
No, listen.
and then that'd be a problem.
What I have figured out for myself is that marriage to me, because there were points in our marriage, and I was like, yo, this is just seems selfish, and I don't know if I could
Mm-hmm.
exist in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to weigh what's important
Right.
to you. You know what I'm saying? Like what's important. Like I said before, you're my best friend and you're a business partner. You and I have
Hmm.
not only developed a brand and developed a business model that works for you and I
Mm-hmm.
and works for building a legacy for our kids, but we've built a friendship that I think would outlast anything, because when we were broke, especially after the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
you and I were still best friends and we still found ways to enjoy life and enjoy each other during our harshest times. No money. We were struggling with our sex life. We had just had a child. We were struggling, but somehow through that, you and I found a way to create a great life. So for me as a married man, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to make some adjustments in the things that I want as a man. And like you said, what do I think about in my legacy, right? Why do I get married? What do men think of, what's the thought process? I know I wanted a lot of kids. I want boys and girls.
That's
I
the
have two
reason you
daughters. I'd
got.
like to have a daughter. That's part of the legacy I want to leave. I want to be able to raise a daughter who's intelligent, who's beautiful, who has a lot of self worth. I want to be able to give the world a young lady with those type of attributes, and I feel like we collectively can do that. So part of my legacy is not only just doing everything I can for myself or for us, but it's also in growing another productive member of society. And I want to do that to both a young man and a young woman. I have three boys and a young daughter. If that means I have to sacrifice other aspects of my life that may not seem perfect in what I expected, then I'm willing to do that. Because then I start to realize what I felt was perfect was only what was fed to me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
And I think
that's
that
fair.
if people would have fed to me the reality of being in a monogamous relationship from young, I would have known what it was rather than
Would you have
creating
still done it, or would you been like, I'm
I'm
not
still
going to be
doing it
willing to?
now.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it
I mean,
now. I
yeah,
don't
you
I
could have
don't
bailed, but you didn't,
I could, and you could have
and I
bailed.
could have bailed for
So
sure.
we both made an active choice and
Right.
continuously make an active choice to be here
It's like, yeah,
because
it's a prioritizing
it is
that happens.
prioritizing.
Okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Oh goodness. Thank goodness it's over. Goodness it's over. Thank goodness it's over. Thank God. All right, let's jump into my notes. I'm sorry, this is a video I was very apprehensive about making because this is a video that's going to take time for us to dive and jump into all of the stuff that we need to dive and jump into. But I took some notes. Let's go piece by piece by piece. What are the orbitals that you all picked up on? I want you to write them in the comments below. Yes, this video is live at the moment and I can see your comments. And I saw what some of you were saying during the thing. So some of that I may incorporate into this video when we come to the end of it. So listen. All right. The question is, why do women constantly push monogamy? They talk about requesting monogamy that she requested monogamy before living together and exclusivity, and who asked first, the women. Oh God. You know what? Oh God. This angers me so much. I'm going to try to calm down. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together. You know, we have been bamboozled as a society. We've been brainwashed into women self-monogamizing, right? We've been brainwashed into self-monogamizing and thinking of our vaginas as this gift, this honey pot, this cookie, this reward, this thing, right? And we have been taught that you're dirty if you like other men, or you're dirty if you like intercourse. You're dirty, right? So we self-monogamize in these relationships because we just want to keep it to one person. We don't want to be thought of as that sketel or that whatever skeezer, whatever word you want to come up with. There's so many of them because when you think of promiscuous, the word promiscuous basically, or for the most part, only refers to women. You know, really, when you think about promiscuous, besides that song that came out with will.i.am and that chick, promiscuous had never really been used towards men, right? Because there is something wrong with a woman being promiscuous. So when we talk about who asks for monogamy first, we all know, God, let's take a survey. Can a man deal with the ganda getting an anaconda? Can a man deal with it? If you say yes, that a man can really deal with his woman going out there and getting some other pipe someplace else, put up the number one. If you know for good and gosh darn certain that the psyche, the physicality of a male, the DNA of a male just cannot really deal with a woman dating him and also splitting it open, turning it around, spinning around, bunking over, putting it up and down for some other man. Put up a number two if you know that he's just not built that way. So for the most part, women self-monogamize into these relationships because that is the expectation. And within this expectation, she's like, well, I have centered myself just on you and this relationship. So where are we going? What are we going to do? Also, women have a biological clock. Let's talk. Let's talk about what it is that I learned. I told you I was going to share some things that I learned when I was at a seminar. I was at the Black Love Seminar with these two years ago. When I was at this seminar, they talked about the journey of their relationship. They met when they were in college very early on. This man, he played football. He was traveling a lot. He was the toast of the town, handsome man. And even now you see him with his shirt wide open and abs and everything on their page and stuff. And we're going to talk about what are one of the implications of him making a video like this, letting the female populace with a great portion of pick-me's out there know that homeboy just ain't really getting it as much as he liked to get it at home. We're going to talk about that in a while, so just get your comments ready, right? What I learned at this seminar is their relationship was on again, off again. So they talk about, oh, we met at 18 and da, 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 da. Their relationship was on and off, on and off. And from what it is that I gathered, she kind of had an idea this guy was going places and she wanted to really kind of hold on to him, right? But, I mean, because he's young, he's fine, he could play sports, he felt like he's going, he's a star. He's going to shooting star. His trajectory is going up this way. I kind of want to hold on to this. And Black women, we know and we understand. We know because when you're in college and you're looking around and you're like, ooh, this is my horse right here that I'm a bet on, right? Some of them is a good gamble. Some is a bad gamble because you can't really bet on somebody else's success. But let's go forward. From what it is that I learned at this seminar, these two had broken up. She left him. So this is part of the reason it's like when we start doing these relationship goal stuff and you're looking at other couples and oh, you got to get them while they're young. I feel sorry for any woman who tries to settle down with a young man who hasn't really fully lived. And it's like for women, like you see, the thing is that there's so many lies being told about women and the female sex drive and what women really crave and how many women really step out. The thing is that women have such finesse that there are far too many men out there that don't know that their woman is cheating. They don't know. They can't handle it. They can't handle it. So let's talk. They had broken up. He said that he was like, good, go. And by the time she got to the car, he was at the window hollering down onto the floor in a puddle of tears. I mean, this is a very beautiful young woman. He knew. And the thing about it is, listen, if he didn't want to get married, he should have just tossed the fish back out into the sea. Listen, there's plenty of fish out there in the sea, right? He could have found a woman who wanted to do things but no, he loves that woman. He said that this is his best friend. That is the woman that he wants. He wanted her. He wanted this relationship. But now, after the fact, when all is said and done, now he's like, oh, you pressured me. The question that all of us can ask is, why is it that for far too many men, and listen, there's a cultural and racial aspect to this as well. Why is it that Black men just don't naturally feel that urging to get into the next stage of life, the next milestone? Like, okay, now it's time to settle down. Now it's time to create a family. Now it's time to make this union and have a special union that exists just between us. Because when we talk about monogamy is not about sex. In the same way, polygamy is not about sex. Monogamy is a marital structure where there's one man and one woman. You have polyandry, where there's one woman and multiple men. You have polygyny, where there's one man and multiple women. Then you have polygamy, which is the practice of just having more than one spouse, right? So my question is, if you can't please one woman enough, if you can't please one woman enough to have a woman in her sexual peak in her sexual prime be clawing at you? What is it that's going on with you and either your skill, your attention to detail, your whatever the case may be, or what is existing outside of the bedroom in the house that is making her not feel moist, that's making her feel dry? What is it that's going on? So I ask you all the question. The numbers are going to be 3 and 4, right? And listen, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I don't know this couple very well. Like when I was at the seminar with them, I didn't even realize how famous they were until I went back and, added them on Instagram and stuff like that, right? The numbers are going to be 3 and 4. We're going to take a survey. This is for men and women to answer, right? From what it is that you've seen, if you have seen their stuff, don't answer if you haven't seen any of their videos and this is the first time that you're coming into contact with them. But if you've seen their other videos, right? And I want you to be very honest. Do you get the sense that this man holds up the mantle of, how do I put this? I want to put this the right way. Do you think that he's helping her around the house in terms of disciplining the children, in terms of being that equal partner with her, with equal distribution of, listen, because you want to talk about creating a wonderful addition to society. Do you think that he is doling out equal, what do you call that stuff when you discipline? Yeah, equal discipline for the children, equal housework, equal being that parent and not a friend, right? Put up a number 3 if you think that he's holding up that space on the same level that she is, and he is that stoic figure that she can turn to and be on the same page with the rearing of the children and the disciplining of the children and all of that. If you feel that they share the chores and all of this stuff equally, put up the number 2. If you get the sense, this is going to be very cruel it may be cruel. If you get the sense, and I just want to see from you all, if you get the sense that he is another child that she has to raise, put up the number 3. I'm sorry. Put up the number 4. I'm sorry. 4. If you get the sense that he is another child that she has to raise, put up a number 4. If you feel that he leaves the bulk of the parenting to her, put up the number 4. If you feel that he plays the clown and he's like daddy friend, like, I'm going to be friends to my kids, and ha, 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 look at you. Ooh, you're so cute. Go get the discipline from your mama. Put up the number 4. Look at the 4s coming in. I'm not making this up. You all get the same. And I asked you only to vote if you have also seen their other stuff. So it's like, what is going on in this home that this juicy, vibrant woman in her sexual peak and prime, she's 36. This is the time that the human body is like, oh, clock is ticking. Let me get these babies in there. So your body, listen, it starts for a woman. Listen, ladies, when you start turning 30, you start feeling it's like a little dragonfly inside. That dragonfly, you remember the cartoon I had, Frenchie? You remember that? When you turn 30, you're like, you're ready to rip somebody else apart and yourself too to get to some. But what's going on in this household? It's like, and listen, don't get me wrong. I know she loves a funny man. Many women love that man that's comedic. But when you are in the parenting situation and you're carrying the brunt end of it, because if you all have seen the videos, and I've only seen a few of them, but in the few that I have seen, he's like, look at Kadeem in mommy mode, 3, 2, when in here she comes with the scarf on, and she's like, you better not be filming this. And she's like disciplining the kids. What are you all doing? And he's just sitting there laughing, rolling around, and he's over there tickling the kids. And meanwhile, it's big bad Mama Kadeem coming in to wield the discipline. Come on now, you all have seen that? Let's keep going. You know what? As a matter of fact, I just got my notes out. Let me make sure that I say everything that we need to say on this, right? Okay, monogamy. Okay, listen, monogamy. To say, oh, why would you want to be monogamous if you can't handle all that it is that I'm bringing? The first question that I asked myself was, well, how often is he attempting to have intercourse? Does he have some sort of sex addiction? Does he have some sort of sex addiction? Is it really more about just squeezing off a nut? Is he using her body as a human masturbatory sleeve? Because there's this misconception going around that when a man's penis goes up, it has to be put down. Otherwise, he's going to be in physical pain and he can't control himself. He'll just go wild and all this other stuff. No, if your penis goes up, it can go right back down. It's just blood that goes inside there. When you're working out, blood goes to your limbs. When you cool down, the blood leaves your limbs. So it's like, no, why is your solution to think that monogamy is the problem? So you think that maybe if you were polygamous, if you had maybe another wife, that then your sexual needs will be then satisfied? It's like a relationship between one man and one woman is a marital structure. If you had more than one woman, then you'd have to deal with the getting to know these other women, doing the things that pleases them in such a way that the doors open. Instead of the woman having to pry open her own doors, like, oh, I promised I was but I'd rather go to sleep. Let me bring this up now. I was going to bring this up later in the video. Let me tell you something. I love ice cream. I do. I love chocolate, vanilla. I love strawberry. I love the different flavors with the cone pieces or the fudge pieces or the almonds or the pecans or the mint or the cookies. Oh, the cookie bits and the cookie dough. I love ice cream. So sweet, so nice. I love the silkiness, like when you wrap your tongue on it, you feel that coldness become cool, and then you feel that sweet silkiness. I love ice cream. I can eat ice cream every day. It is not a chore at all, at all. When that intercourse is, listen, you don't have to force anyone to eat ice cream, something that they enjoy. Why do you have to force a person? What's going on with what's happening in your bedroom, in your life, that it feels like a force? Why do you have to feel like a chore? Why? That's New York accent. Chore. Listen, why does it feel like a chore? I mean, the enjoyable things in life, oh, we can't get enough of those. Even if it was, you know what? I know that I enjoy this act so much that I'm going to allow myself to be put in the mood. But when you prefer to go to sleep, and listen, I understand the longer a relationship is, the more difficult it is to spark that flame, right? But so then that begs the question, is he using her body as a masturbatory sleeve just so that he could be able to get his release within her hole? Because if that's the case, then he can just use an apparatus to be able to get him over the edge. If his penis is popping up that much that it needs to be put down and it doesn't really. So like, remember he said that he felt resentful. Like, I don't know if I can exist in this like this because it seems selfish that she's holding her coochie to herself. So it's like, why is it that you are dependent on your woman for all of your, why is it that you're dependent on another human being for all of your gratification anyway? Like we heard that ignorant woman who was cursing, calling women bees and men ends. Nobody should be somebody's be all end all. Why is it that you listen, and nobody knows how to make you climax like you do. If you know what you're doing, which is you've had your practice. Right? So if it's just a case of needing to let the edge off a little, and why is it that he hasn't gotten to the point of maturity? Because listen, we know that he's not in his sexual peak anymore. He's not in his that those days are done. 21, a boy peaks at 21. I don't know how often they are having intercourse, but let's bring up the implications of saying this out loud in public, because now he has so many women out there that knows that his balls are fibrillating down there underneath inside his pants, that his balls is just gyrating and just that all she got to do is what? Because there's so many desperate women out here wishing they see married men, and they first of all, they have anger at marriage and relationships and all this other stuff. So a married man is even more appealing to them. Now let him have a little bit of money. Plus there's so many Black women out here desperate for a Black man that knows how to be faithful, and she doesn't even mind being number two because she never really felt she deserved to have a full-time and this, that, and the other. So there's so many, the market is just so wide and big out there, and especially if he's out there traveling around and all of this. So now he didn't let it be known. Mr. Duval ain't satisfied sexually. His drive is too high. He needs more than one woman. Now he's done put the advertisement out there. I told you, look at her face. She looks embarrassed and mortified. Look at her face. And he's like, now the ladies know. All they got to do is what? Cup him up on the pant front. Cup up in front. And then just jiggle it around a little bit. Push them soft eyes upon him. That part really annoyed me, because I'm like, there's far too many desperate biddies out here. Listen. All right. Why is his response to not being able to get as much release into his woman's body as he wants? Why is his response to that to think about adding different energies into the relationship? Monogamy, when you're monogamous with a person, you don't have to worry. Listen, sex is something that is unique and special to your relationship. That's it. There's no other energy, sexual energies coming into your relationship. It's your partner, and your partner and you have this connection, and that is unique. You reserve this for only your partner. That's like a woman turning around and being like, if you knew that you didn't want to buy me everything that I wanted, why did you push for monogamy? It's like, no, monogamy is about a lot more than just how much your partner buys you or how much skins or ass your partner is giving up to you. Monogamy is a marital structure that both people agree upon. And if he knew that he had these urgings and these cravings for multiple partners and all this other stuff and multiple wives, because it doesn't really sound like he wants to marry another woman. It sounds like he just wants a warm hole to squirt off in. It doesn't really sound like he wants to invest in these other relationships. Speaking of squirt off in, 18 years they've been together. 18 years. And he's still talking about how she pushed him into monogamy, pressured him. Like I said in the beginning of this video, you all pressured me to make this video, but ultimately it was my choice to make this video. Far too often we see too many Black men especially go into something and then blame the woman for how things turn out. You're a man, you're a leader. If you know, listen, if this is what that woman requires and you want that woman, you do what it takes for that particular woman. If you don't really want that woman, then you're not going to do what it takes for that particular woman. He could have let her go 18 years ago, 10 years ago, even 13 years ago. She said that she didn't want to be living together and sin in that way, right? So they've been married for 10 years now. She spent 18 years of her life with this man. At what point was he going to come up with, this is embarrassing. At what point was he going to be like, you know what, let's make this official? Why is it that he's trying to say that it was her idea? Oh, let me just make sure I got all my notes done. Oh, all right. Listen, there are a few other things on here, but I'm gonna let you. Oh. Okay, that monogamy has benefits. That's one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. I want you all in the comment section to write down what are some of the benefits of monogamy. Because monogamy has benefits for men and monogamy has benefits for women. Marriage has benefits. And the worst part about it is that men benefit more from marriage than women do. But then now he's going to come after the fact with amnesia. Like he doesn't remember rolling around on the floor in a puddle of tears wanting his Kadeem back. So it's like if she would have gone off with another man, he would have still been sitting here talking about this is the one that got away. And this is just so frustrating and so annoying to me, especially when there are other women who are coming out talking about, oh, you can't be a man, everything. Not even just oh. And this goes far beyond what Derek Jackson was talking about in terms of standards. It's like, come on. And the worst part about it, I'll say this before I jump out of here. I'll read some of your comments and I'll jump out. I'll say this. Unfortunately, far too often, listen, only 21% of Black men in America get married. And far too often, it is just known. Far too many men need those ultimatums. Otherwise, if you don't give them the ultimatums, then you'll just allow them to just swim in and out of you for what, 18 years? Like 18 years later, he's still talking about why pressure a person into monogamy. Really, son? Is you serious? I'm like, come on. So it's like, come on. It's like you as a grown man, head of household. Well, I mean, is he really head of household? Because we already did the survey. Come on. How long were you going to stay in this situation where there's no paperwork? You all read that thing about that man who he was dating some woman for 25 years and she kept saying she wanted to get married. He said she was moving too fast. It's like, how long will you allow a person to swim in and out of your body without being like, you know what? We need to do something different. And the crazy part about it is that men know that they love when a woman is monogamous because then you know that the children are yours. But then go out there and have multiple partners then and see what type of complications it has. Speaking of which, she said that he allows her to be on her own time clock until it's taken too long. You peeped that, right? I'm going to just let you all answer the rest of this. I knew this was going to be a long video. I didn't know that it was going to be this long. So listen, peace of mind. About STDs, exactly. I had a supervisor who was with his 8 years, 3 kids, and at that point, no interest. Exactly. No interest of getting married. Exactly. I won't think marriage is beneficial to a woman unless the man is helping financially and emotionally. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Cherie is saying disease free. Annette is talking about, on their deathbed proposing to somebody. I'm not about to change your diapers, old ass man. I hear you. I hear you. LJ is saying monogamy is good from a self-discipline. Monogamy isn't natural, and sometimes it's good to do what's hard. Yeah, monogamy is not natural for human beings. It's not. But we make these choices to ensure that the energies that we have, that there's something unique, designatedly unique between this relationship that no other relationship has. Camera is saying to remind me of the person who proposed after 40 plus years. Lavender is saying, did you see the man that proposed after 45 years? It's too much. It's too much. So Sandra is saying singleness of thought. I want you thinking about me only. I mean, does monogamy say that a person will think about you only? Annette is saying peace of mind comes from monogamy being on one accord, building a strong, healthy, happily family unit. And just going on, cooking and cleaning for their asses like a second child and blowing them regularly when you never get off yourself. It's so sad, the state of these loser men. It's true. 70% of women have never had an orgasm. So why would anybody be wanting to do all this and that and they're not getting the pleasure, they're not getting the release that they need from it? There's so many more questions that could be asked. But on that note, I'm going to jump out of here. And I want you to continue to leave your comments below. I want you to share this video and get other people's take on it. I know it was a bit long, but that's okay. Listen, you can listen while you're cleaning up and doing all of that other stuff. I know this is a longer video. So make sure that you share it because the YouTube algorithm is not going to share this video. out because of the length. So you have to make sure that you share it and that you share with other people to get their point of view as well. Was I off in something that I said? Was I too hard on him? Well, did I say something that was not truth? Something that was a lie? I need to know. I need to know. So on that note, I'm going to bid you all adieu. I am Tanya TKO. This is my book of self-love affirmations. It is currently sold out worldwide, but it will be back in stock soon. We're working on getting those new copies published. And listen, go out there and love one another. Most importantly, what? Love yourself. Yes, love yourself. And part of loving yourself is really having these deep, hard conversations with yourself about what is it that you are willing to put up with? What do you want your life to look like? You know, it's like I saw this. How many of you out there saw Jingle Jangle? If you saw Jingle Jangle, put up 5. In Jingle Jangle, there was this beautiful, plump, fluffy woman who was singing to the main character. She was all in heat for him. But at the end of the day, what is it that she was getting? She was constantly getting rejection. And it's like there's so many of us that don't understand. Listen, there's so many of us that think that it's up to a woman to constantly have to deal with rejection, with a man's cheating, with his unfaithfulness, with his lies. Meanwhile, on the flip side of that, the man has your undivided attention. I mean, from a self-love standpoint, I mean, it was good for comedic value for her to be singing and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, she's like, you're a good man, you're good. But really, you're a good woman. Take yourself over to somebody who wants you. So that if you feel that you have to pressure a man into getting married, unfortunately, for far too many men, they just don't grow up fast enough. They just don't grow up fast enough. This is part of the reason that there's sometimes a huge age gap between men and women, because they just are on some other stuff. While you're here, they're still floating, rotating around, doing some other stuff. And the last thing that you want is somebody to come and throw it in your face that they didn't want to get married, and throw it in your face that they didn't want monogamy, throw it in your face in public. You know, it's like we get it set up in our minds that we want a particular type of man. This good-looking man with the abs who's playing pro football that all the women want and all this, that, and the other. Make no mistake. There comes a point in every man's life where he's like, you know what? I want to come home to a family. I want to come home to a woman. And the type of men, look, they say that a man is only as faithful as his options, right? And so many of us, we want this full and total package, et cetera, et cetera. We want the man who's 6 feet and with the rotating around anaconda and all the money and the abs and all this, that, and the other. And, you know, I'm starting a matchmaking service to connect Black men from the diaspora and Black women in America so that we can get more family units together. And in my matchmaking service, I'm focusing on the internal, on creating good values, goals, and personality matches from people who are ready. You know, it's like far too often we give leeway and space for men who just aren't ready. And some of them will never be ready, but yet we keep giving of ourselves, giving of our time to these men. When there are other men, they may not have 6-pack abs. Maybe some of them do have 6-pack abs, but they're not 7 feet tall and other things. Now, listen, I'm not telling you to settle. I'm not telling you to settle. What I'm saying is shift your focus into being with a person who is a good match for you and where it is that you want to go. Listen, it's as simple as that. So that you don't have somebody trying to throw it back in your face. Because I talk to men every day who want to settle down. My matchmaking service costs money. And there are men willing to invest in being able to find the right woman for them. It's like the thing is that where it is that you're meeting these men, you may not, it's like a crapshoot. You don't know whether or not they're really at the stage, whether they have the money. Because listen, let's listen. A man before he wants to settle down is gonna need to be able to have a certain amount of money, financial stability. But you know what? I promised we were getting out of this video. So we will talk about all of that in another video. My website is TanyaTKO.com. Come over, send me a message. I'll put you on join the mailing list. Come to my website, join the mailing list, and you'll get a notification for when my matchmaking service is launched. All right. So listen, on that note, I will see you all in the next video. Tanya TKO, and I'm out. I'll say it again. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, love yourself. And loving yourself is having enough self-pride to know what it is that you will and will not deal with. This goes for men and women. Don't get pressured into marriage if you don't want to get married. Don't feel that you have to pressure a person into getting married. You know what it's like I said, she had already left this man. And he did what it is that he needed to do to make sure that he got her back. Now, years later, he has amnesia. Please, let me get out of here. Tiny TKO, and I'm out. Peace.